We did it, guys. We made it in the big leagues. I have officially reached the populace that thinks that I take it too far. Finally. No, so this will be the only time I address a comment direct from one of my previous videos with my induced rage playing on the obvious example of why ranged killers are rough in this game and why I think that behavior devs don't actually know what they're doing, and I will stand on business when I say that they are definitely brain dead with their changes. No, so I got a comment about me complaining about everything, and while that is true, I complain about everything in this game, that's because there's pretty much everything to complain about. And plenty of people sympathize with that, and they understand where I'm coming from. And the other big part is me editing in information mid-match to actually explain and have some rationale behind the actions I'm doing in a game. So I'm gonna give this guy his flowers and actually talk about this, because apparently it's a big deal. And it is a big deal to me because, yes, I am trying to build a community. I am trying to build up myself to be able to reach more people. Dead by Daylight's more of a means to an ends with everything, but... so here's another prime example. This guy leaving as soon as he gets downed, because that's not at all a survivor issue. Because we've got survivors like this who will just immediately DC as soon as something doesn't go their way, and they're part of the problem. Alright, so we got a camping Karasu, which means we just walk away and do a gen. Maybe I'll do the one right next to her. I wonder if she'll actually let me. Oh, wow. You can unhook yourself, 11. You can do that. Base camp doesn't actually matter. No, so as I sit here watching the bar go up, people like that killer also don't help. If you want me to complain on the other side, maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's because I'm a killer. I don't know. But they said they can't imagine that it's a healthy thing to feel the need to edit in extra complaints in pop-up text as I'm complaining in the live footage. Well, you obviously haven't read the pop-up footage, at least not a majority of them, because anytime I put those in, it's usually me further commenting and further posting about what is actively happening in the game in that moment. So for example, if I'm looping a tight loop, I explain why it's ticking me off so much, why it is such bad game design, why it is a problem for Trickster. And same thing for Jason, same thing for Huntress, same thing for Springtrap. Please understand that when I put those in, like 95% of the time, it is further explaining the situation. Because otherwise people are just going to say comments like this where it's, oh, you're just complaining. Well, obviously you're not reading them, because obviously that does add the further context. Nothing here is scripted. I'm not recording beforehand in a match. I am actively playing the match. So when I get frustrated at something, and I call something out and I point something out, that is a live reaction. That is a live take. That isn't just me flaming for views or any garbage like that. I'm genuinely playing the game. I'm having genuine reactions that plenty of people have, but not a lot of people talk about, because you go on YouTube and you look through Dead by Daylight videos, and all you see are big-name content creators blazing the hell out of this game like they need to. Like, oh, the game is in such a better state, the game is so good, oh my god, this change is so fantastic, but they don't give it the forethought that it actually requires. They don't give it the immediate thought of, well, maybe this won't work because if you look at the broad game. It's the same people who comment on perks being strong, or not strong, whichever direction, and then when you actually use them in a real match, or try to connect them to other perks, it just doesn't work. It's just garbage. Like, Jason came with a perk for breaking pallets, and his power breaks pallets, but it doesn't work with special breaking pallets, which is part of his entire shtick. So why would I run that perk? Why would that even be consideration for developing the character? Like, the one drawback to you getting that is you can't special break, so how many killers don't get to use that perk now because you decided special breaking doesn't affect it? Like, I'm gonna try it on Onryo, see if that works out for her, because it'd be nice to have haste, and I can just base tank pallets to break them, because I don't care about pallets. For those who don't know, as Onryo, when you're phased out, pallets don't actually affect you at all. They just bounce off you. See, if this 11 stayed, it would have been a 4-man out. Like, guaranteed, because this Karasu is just face camping because haha funny. And now we're gonna start making actual progress. I don't want to be in there. Actually, it's probably fine. Endgame Karasu? Maybe? Or I just leave, because, my lord. Yeah, she's going for the pick. That's fine. And yes, I will absolutely call the developers of this game brain dead. And I could go ahead and make a long-form talk video like Scott or something about the state of DBD, but that won't change my everyday interaction either. She's just gonna face camp, so I'm just gonna leave because it's a lost cause. I'm sorry, Steppa. I gotta do it. I'm sorry, Steppa. Forgive me. Also, I think we can all say at this point for Dead by Daylight, there doesn't need to be constructive feedback to behavior, because they're gonna filter out the feedback anyways. They've literally commented saying that they said on stream live for them that they need to filter the feedback they get. And yeah, I get it. People just screaming, "You suck," isn't actually constructive feedback, but when you have creators who are giving you constructive feedback, big creators in the creator program, who you then strip the title from because they have wrong think of how you play the game, or how you develop the game, because they don't play their games, they just quote-unquote develop the game. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, this one, Rampage here, it's only normal breaking. So anyone with a power that special breaks, nah, you don't get the power from the perk at all. Like, not every single one of my videos are going to be this constructive feedback. I'm gonna call behavior out for their crap. And you have so many other people giving them constructive feedback, and you've seen so many other people giving constructive feedback who they're just smacked in the face. Big name people with larger communities who do feel the killer anxiety, who do feel the problem with the game, who do actually play other games and see where the developmental issues are, and where they're just ignoring them or laughing them off the entire stream, where they're like, everybody's typing palette, but then they insist palette density is fine. And apparently they've changed palettes now again to include even more in tight loops. Like, what are we talking about? I'm not going to suggest what can be improved in the future, because anything I say, because I play mostly killer, and I don't just dump my wallet in front of behavior, that alone means that my opinion doesn't matter to them. So I'm not going to constantly give them constructive feedback. I'm going to tell them straight to their face, and I'm going to tell everyone else, and I'm going to voice for people who don't speak up, who just take the hits, who feel like garbage, and feel... You know, a lot of people will feel like trash. That's Refine's whole thing, is the killer anxiety. You log into Dead by Daylight and you have that looming dread of playing the game because the entire thing feels like it's going against you. Well, guess what? People understand that. People acknowledge that. And more people need to speak up that fundamentally there are just so many problems in this game. So many problems that when you say something, more often than not, it doesn't actually even matter. Unfortunately, sadly, depressingly. Where it should matter. And that's the big point, too. Your guys' voices do matter. They reach at least someone. More points, more points. So just having a misunderstanding fundamentally of the game, or not the game, fundamentally having a misunderstanding of where I'm coming from and what I'm doing fine. If you don't jive with someone who's willing to just speak up to developers to try to make them, you know, actually care, that's on you. Here we have another prime example of why I get so frustrated, because... Ooh, we got a body block. We can't have a single out, guys. Far be it from me to play the game as the killer. You have your armada of people just ready to come throw the game to save one guy. And they're allowed to. And that's part of what I talk about. Because look right there. Why are killers allowed to just... Or why are survivors allowed to just body block like that? They can just run in. And I've had plenty of instances where that has lost me the game because people will just sit in a door frame to be able to punish that more than just... hit the survivor. Because look at the distance you make on someone like Onryo. Yeah, I have 4.6, but I have to now make up this distance. Which I did because he stood around. I don't know why he just stood around. That wasn't really a peak spot or anything. Not even using my power. And you know what? Someone's running around doing TVs anyways, so I can't even use my power. Another prime example. How many videos do you want me to make about me talking about Onryo not being able to use her power? Is that constructive feedback enough for you? Going every single video saying the same tired thing that they haven't addressed for years? No, I'm not gonna keep being constructive about it, because there's nothing left to be constructive about. I've said my piece. I'm just giving further and further examples about how this is getting worse for Onryo. Because I do play Onryo, I do enjoy playing Onryo. But she's in such a state right now, because behavior won't listen to anyone who actually plays the killer and plays the game. And it is people like you who continually pressure and press and push people to feel like anything they say doesn't matter. Because it doesn't have to be constructive. I'm calling trash out for being trash. And the reason I play this game is the same reason as Professional Outcast plays this game, as Tainted Nem plays this game. I like the genre. I want to see the genre succeed. But when you have developers who will allow people like this to exist, who will just run in for no reason and body block for no reason other than, oh, we have to have a perfect match as Survivor. Against a killer who suffers in the current meta. Like, yeah, I'm gonna speak up. Sorry it offends you so much that somebody likes asymmetrical games with a passion who hasn't really even seen them in so long because people, for whatever reason, love to ruin them. My bad. Also, that should have been a hit. It wasn't. This one will be. Very nice. But he's around the corner for a pallet save. Also very nice. Also, the fact that my videos are showing up on people's feeds is actually kind of cool. I actually matter enough? That's crazy. Oh, you're already dead. It doesn't even matter. That's one! Cool beans. Somebody's still running around and messing with all my TVs, though. Because they're allowed to. Probably this Ada Wong. Oh, bloodstains. This way. Am I tracking? Yeah, you also get people who will come in... Like, I'll be playing passively off-stream, not even recording, and I'll be playing. And I'll have a god-awful match. And I'll have someone even come into my Discord to comment on it. But you're gonna come after me and say, oh, I'm just flaming. Nah. See, I'm making videos addressing the issues and pointing out my perspective through the different problems in Dead by Daylight, and you're just shrugging it off. Nah. Just because they're not constructive. Nah. It's constructive for people who feel the same way. It's constructive for the people who do play this game. Because I'm trying to appeal, alright, to people who play the video game and play many other video games who have very strong feelings toward video games as a whole, toward the gaming industry, not just Dead by Daylight, mind you, but toward the industry as a whole. Actually, I kind of want this guy to pallet drop me. Nice, that hit. I knew it would. There are people who play this game very passionately and other video games very passionately, and they have strong feelings and they never speak up because they feel like they're outliers. And I'm one of those people. And I've decided to make content because I'm finally speaking up about something I'm passionate about and making content that people can relate to. So if that's a problem for you, I guess I'm sorry for not being sorry that I'm appealing to a crowd you're not part of. I don't know what else you want me to say about that. Maybe it's this guy running my tapes around. No, it's also the Ada, because she's getting condemned by taking the tapes. It doesn't make sense to me. Why it's still wrong that I have strong opinions about video games, but go off, I suppose. But that's just it for everyone, right? Or at least a lot of people in the gaming space who feel like me in terms of, well, I don't matter. My thoughts don't matter. Because they do. Communities matter, people matter. The fact that these companies, and sorry, but behavior is part of the same thought process of a AAA developer. These companies are willing to just absolutely not care and destroy their games over what? Protecting their feelings? Sorry, I'm another mean guy in the Dead by Daylight space. Sorry, I'm too mean to these developers. Good haste. I'm taking advantage of it. Alright. That kind of hit does hit, because the auto-aim likes to pull me down toward the railing when it doesn't need to. Yeah, I get this. There's no pallets around. You guys have spent them all. Yeah. Surprisingly, no pallet out here, though. That's very interesting. Hello, Ada. Another one down. I don't know if she meant to come over here. Feels like she did. Break this. Feel like the haste timer should pause when I'm breaking pallets, because haste doesn't apply to breaking actions. Readed that too much. Very nice. I could probably just hang around that hook. Let me put pressure on by opening this. Go up here. Now we gotta go after this guy. He has protection. He's going to this one. That ain't the one that's open, homie. I think I get this. Just barely, but I think I do get this unless she body blocks. I think she's injured, so... There's no pallet here. We've cleared it out. Because pallet density. Yep, nice. Woo! Squeaked the 3K. But yeah, that was a pretty even match. Weirdly enough. Mostly because I wasn't trying to just warp to my TVs so much, which is the entire point, but, you know, whatever. Can't play my killer other than just playing my killer. The occasional teleport. I got 1 condemned off. The whole point is for me to be building up condemned, but can't do that. Because people are just running around grabbing tapes, and there's no punishment for it. They need to update this killer. I have, especially on stream, gone through immense depth and detail on changes to different killers that I play. So by all means, you can check out the Twitch. I don't play Dead by Daylight anymore on stream, and I can't just go back and edit in my forethoughts or anything actively happening when it's streaming. I don't know how else I'm supposed to present myself with the issues I have personally versus getting things out either into words or onto videos, let alone streams. So while I do appreciate getting comments, this prolonged story of, I don't know, guy, you unable to see my vision of so many other people feeling the same way I do. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm more than happy to discuss problems I have with the game in intricate detail. I can sit down and make a video like that if you guys want. But as for just the day-to-day gameplay, sorry I'm mean, I guess. Because Behavior has had 10 years to listen to their community, and time again, they choose not to. The only time they actually listen is when there is so much absurdly massive blowback from the community that like 80 to 90% within that range of the community yells and screams at them, "Stop. This is a terrible idea. You need to listen and stop." And then they tried to pull off that shit in 2 PTBs in a row. 2 in a row. We've had, I'm talking about, for context, I'm talking about the anti-slug, anti-hook crap they dropped and wasted so much time on. They tried to pull that crap across 2 PTBs, leaning into 3. And it wasn't like some major tweak to the system, nah. They tried to copy-paste to make the same thing twice. You think being rational with those people are gonna do anything? You think being constructive toward those kinds of people gonna do anything? Nah, the best thing you can do is talk about how the game is and present what it actually is as this palate cleanser for all the happy-go-lucky big name creators out there who are more than likely getting paid and so many perks to speaking highly of Behavior that they're just gonna speak highly of Behavior. No, I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. I'm gonna call out the game devs because I care about the game, I'm passionate about the genre, and seeing it in this state is awful. You know what? Go watch my Identity 5 video. Watch how your hook protections are gone all of a sudden, so you playing stupid and running into hook as I'm right there as the killer means you get hit, means you get out. You don't get to just run in my face and get away with it for free 3 times in a row because you have so many protections. That is significantly better. Go watch Professional Outcast. I say this time and time again. Go watch Professional Outcast. He's got the same energy. We can both talk constructive about this game. We can both talk about changes we would have in the game, and it's not actually going to go anywhere other than other people understanding, sympathizing, changing their view. I'm going to talk about the game state as it is. And I'm speaking in the frame of someone who's probably the average Dead by Daylight player who doesn't actually speak up or say anything. You know, the killers who end up getting 1 kill, no kills, 4 kills even. Like hard-fought ones, and then they're laughed at in the chat and threatened in the chat and outside of the game and all this crap. So, sorry that me deciding that I'm gonna speak up is so wrong. Use that same energy. Do me a favor. Do me and everyone else a favor. Use that energy and speak up and push back against people who will go outside of the game, or even in the endgame chat, and threaten people's lives, or tell them to go next themselves. Use that same energy to actually help those people be better, or help the people on the receiving end. Because what I do is I explain the mindset of what's actively happening to those people. The people who try to play the game right, who try to play by the Survivor rulebook, who play decently, who don't just trash talk in the post game. Yeah, I do it on the YouTube videos, but I'm walking through it with logic and how the match actually goes and why it's frustrating for me. And I say over and over again, for a lot of the players I go against, it's not their fault. It's behavior, it's their designs, it's how they put things together. You clearly haven't actually watched through my other content. You clearly haven't seen any of the streams, because everyone should know that when I'm speaking bad about the game and the things that happen in the game, 95% of the time, it is a boo on behavior's part. It is a shame on you behavior. Players take advantage of it, but then you get other people who will play like a couple of the people in this match, where they will just run in your face immediately. Oh, look at me, chase after me, killer. Like, people will swarm like flies. It's those kinds of survivors, and it happens in my survivor games, which is part of why it ticks me off, because you can have 3 people on gens, 1 person running the killer. As soon as that 1 person running the killer, it doesn't matter if you're solo queue, look at your HUD. You can have 1 person go off and try to unhook that person while the killer should be going around finding other survivors. This video is the perfect example of the Karasu in the first match. Because I use play while you wait, because I'm not sitting here with 10-minute queue times as killer. Ruin that too. That's the perfect example from the other perspective. You got a Karasu just face camping someone, the anti-hook meter exists, everyone else can just repair. Like, if everyone was, like, clear of the killer and everyone made their way to the door, that would have been a 3 out. But the game state, situationally, everything moved around, and the Karasu ended up getting 3 kills instead. If that 1 person didn't leave that early because they got on the hook a single time, not even hooked yet, they got downed a single time because boo-hoo, game not going exactly how I want. And that's another reason why I go in and explain everything in detail, because it's not just me saying boo-hoo, game didn't go the way I want. There are genuine game flaws. Look at any short loop as killer with a ranged attack. The reason I keep bringing that up isn't me saying boo-hoo, game not going my way. It is, look at all the clutter on the map, look at all the high walls on the map that completely invalidate that killer, and Jason is a fantastic example. They released yet another character who suffers in short loops, and so many different maps work around those short loops. So why, in this atmosphere, is everybody screaming nerf Jason all of a sudden? Everyone who was hyping him up before, now there are so many more people just screaming nerf Jason for nothing. If he was so busted and overpowered, anyone could just pick him up and play him and do fantastic as him and completely wipe the floor. But that's not the case, because you have so many instances where he suffers because he's a range kill, because of the way his range works, the animation locking, the trajectory of his projectile, which is completely different from how they've been doing it for years now, for whatever reason. His slowdown when he pulls out his javelin, his whole kit isn't actually that strong. Even seeing someone's red Cheeto dust in a locker, right? Even that isn't that strong. Just don't hide in a locker. Just keep moving. And if you do hide in a locker, you more than likely have stuff that's baiting him anyways. Like, why are you hiding in a locker without, I don't know, DS, right? Or breakout, or something. If you're hiding in a locker during Jason's power, you learn that he can see it, and then you don't hide in a locker. That's it. Cut and dry. Point blank. A to B, black and white. You don't hide in a locker versus Jason. But nerf his power. What else am I supposed to tell you? You say, make suggestions for what can be improved in the future. There you go. You know what they're going to do? They're going to nerf Jason. They're not going to come out with a statement telling people, hey, by the way, he can see your red powder, your red dust cloud when you're hiding in a locker. They're going to say, oh, sorry, we'll remove that, and bow to the people paying too much money for their game. Because why not have people play better? And again, I'm not fantastic at I've said this so many times before. I'm not fantastic at the game. I'm not this super crazy hyped up, amazing, top tier player in the game. I like to think that I'm mid to low tier at the game. I'm mid to low performance at the game. I'm competent enough where I understand the fundamentals of the game, and I've played enough ASIMs and enough other games to understand the general concepts, and I don't have everything down for every single killer. You know, Springtrap, you know, I have doors I can maneuver around, so I could run anti-gen stuff where I can just damage gens, and I need to work around those more rather than just be stuck in chase with survivors so much. I need to calculate, you know, thinking ahead of 3 gens and all this different stuff. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at the game, but I will also bring up where I do see the foundational and fundamental issues in this game. And if that's really a problem, that might just be Dead by Daylight videos in general, not just mine. If you want the feel-good vibes, you can go watch any of the top 3 Dead by Daylight creators, because they'll give you the good vibes. You know, this is active, live gameplay. This is my actual reactions on an open mic. It isn't pre-recorded and me doing voice clips over the actual game. So yes, in the immediate moment, if I am actively being vocal about an issue I see happening right in my face, that's gonna happen. That comes with the territory of live commentary. Sorry it happens. That's life. Big note for anyone else watching this, because this is kind of a gripe, and again, giving this guy his flowers. Ooh, you've met the criteria for me talking about something a single time, and I'm not gonna make another video regarding it or any other comments like it in the future. But huge note for everyone else: your voice does matter. How you feel does matter. Killer anxiety does exist in this game. If you guys feel a certain way toward Dead by Daylight, feel that way. Make it clear. Stand on it. If you're upset with the game, be upset with the game. Don't let people like this, that I'm addressing in this video, tell you that you're wrong or make you question yourself or push back against you, because you're allowed to feel how you feel. You're allowed to express what you want to express, especially in the killer atmosphere right now, because killer is in a really bad spot as the power role. If you're super new fresh install, or if you're super high end, or you're just playing in the competitive sphere where they have their own specific rule set, so their views are skewed by it because they're only allowed so many different things, especially versing killers and, you know, map bans and all that in the competitive space that you don't get as in a normal match. Golly. But if you're in that just average gamer, come in after work, play the game for a couple hours or so, even less than that, if you only do a couple matches and you feel awful loading into it, that's killer anxiety. And you are valid for feeling that way. So don't let people like this that I'm addressing try to bring you down and drag you down. Especially here. Because it is those kinds of people who will try to get you to not talk about the game, to not address your issues, to not really try to rail into behavior to get them to change the game state, because they want it comfortable. And they don't like hearing the opposing opinion. And yeah, I'm going to rail on about how garbage something is if it's garbage. I'm going to call it out for what it is. I'm going to be real about it. I'm going to be as obnoxious about it as I want to be, and as angry as I want to be about it, because it is toward the game. I got my own stuff outside of content creation that are problems. It has nothing to do with how angry I get toward this game. The reason I get so angry toward this game is because I am passionate about video games. Video games have been my whole life. I'm not gonna rant on and make a huge spiel about it, but you're singing to the wrong choir. This is gonna be the only time I address a comment like this. So, you got your flowers. You got your attention. Hope it brings you some joy in life. And thank you guys so much for watching. Again, anyone who feels badly playing this game, who feels, if you just feel that tension, if you have that stress on you, it's fine to feel that way. It's fine to be vocal about that way. I highly recommend reaching out communities of like-minded people to be able to discuss these things, because you might feel validated. You might get some weight off your chest and off your shoulders about it, because plenty of other people do feel the way I do. And I want to be another voice to help you guys have that weight lifted off your chest. To say, no, I'm not the crazy one. No, I'm not freaking out over nothing. No, I'm not the problem. Because you're not. This game and these devs specifically. The asim genre is not easy, especially because it's PvP. But it is not easy. It is crazy fun to play. And if it's done right, it can thrive and flourish and earn a company so much money. These guys have been doing it for 10 years because there isn't a strong competitor. If we get Evolve 2 with the original intent from the first game, it would be so much better. We're going to see what happens in the upcoming months and year. I'm going to look into Carnival Hunt. You guys will probably see some videos on that one. I mentioned it in my previous video as well. But that's another asim game. I don't entirely understand the game flow, but I have to look more into that because it seems interesting. Identity 5, it's a free option. It's way more scuffed than Dead by Daylight in terms of graphics and how it runs and all that. But it's a mobile game, but it has a lot more of a free-flowing foundation of you're rewarded for capitalizing on people playing stupid. Is the best way I can put it. I can't put it any other way. But enough of my yapping. Thank you guys again so much for joining me today, watching this. Make sure you guys check out my other stuff on Dead by Daylight if you'd like. As always, wander well.